Brendan. Mike's work.
There's a seat right there.
Okay.
Hey,
I'll say your name.
right there. Yeah, I'll sit right there.
Joe. I'd like to call the City Caucus meeting to order for Monday, July 28th, 2025. We have 15 items for original consideration. If the clerk would please read item number 1.
Item number 1 for final consideration, a local law to create Article 5, Section 210-20 to Chapter 210 of the Schenectady City Code, prohibition of eviction without good cause.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number, I'm sorry. Oh, Mr. Mudavera? Who's asking for the roll call? Are you asking? Ms. Patrick's asking for the roll call. Item number 2.
Item number 2 for original consideration, a resolution calling for a public hearing on the 2023 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3 for original consideration, a resolution accepting the 2023 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4 for original consideration, a resolution accepting the 2025 to 2029 U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Lead Hazard Reduction Grant in the amount of $3,967,061.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5 for original consideration, a resolution accepting the 2025-2026 U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development allocations.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept the Justice Action Grant Award from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor to accept the Gun-Involved Violence Elimination Grant Award from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Schenectady City School District for public safety services.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9 for original consideration, a resolution waiving the apprenticeship requirement for Central Park Tennis Court improvements.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing an agreement with the Schenectady City School District for storage and use of a drone and antenna.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into supplemental agreement number 3 with New York State Department of Transportation for the Broadway Mill and Fill, 4th Street to River Street, PIN number 1760.42.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to enter into an agreement with Development of Broadway, LLC, DBA Capital District YMCA for $201,722.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 13.
Item number 13 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a claim by Roop, Chade, and Boozer Shizer.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14 for original consideration, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a claim by Felix Cardona.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 15.
Item number 15 for original consideration, a resolution establishing a city housing stability task force.
Roll call asked for by Mr. Farley. If there's nothing more to come before the City Council, Caucus, I ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mudavaren. All in favor? Aye. I'd like to call to order the Schenectady City Council meeting for Monday, July 28th, 2025. At this time, we don't have a pastor here, and so, no, I wasn't asking you. No? Okay. We don't have a pastor, so if everyone just please stand and observe a moment of silence. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to call on Brendan Savage to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Ms. DeToro? Present. Mr. Farley? Here. Mr. Mancini?
Here.
Mr. Mudavaren?
Present.
Ms. Patrick? Here. Mr. Williams?
Present.
Ms. Porterfield?
Here. I'd ask for the approval of the minutes of July 14th, 2025. Moved by Mr. Mudavaren. Second by Mr. Farley. All those in favor? Aye. If the clerk could please read any communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council from Monday, July 28, 2025. Under Official, from Mayor McCarthy, a list of appointments dated July 28, 2025. Under General, from Chris Morris, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From Harleen Andrus, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From Michael DiLorenzo, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From Pearl Ha, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From Marion Goodrich, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From Andrew Chaffee, an email stating that Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change opposes the good cause eviction legislation and is in support of Councilman Mancini's City Housing Task Force. From David Giacalone, an email and letter addressing the drive-through operation of Starbucks on Erie Boulevard. Under petitions, there were none.
Thank you. I'd like to call on council members to provide any committee reports. Ms. Patrick?
Thank you, President Porterfield. This is a committee of the health, a report from the Health and Recreation Committee on funding for youth recreation programs. The committee met on July 7th, 2025, and received an update from Parks Director William Mazeka on the city's summer youth programs, including staffing, attendance, and challenges at park sites and the municipal pool. Discussion covered issues of youth behavior, enforcement of pool rules, and the roles of staff, police, and school safety teams. The agenda item focused on whether to provide city funding to youth sports organizations, including a request from a county-based hockey league. Concerns were raised about funding programs not serving city youth, as well as the need for a formal application process and possible budget line for future youth services, which could potentially expand beyond sports to include other pro-social activities. So I'd like to submit this to Ms. Maiku.
Thank you. This time we'll have privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have 33 people signed up to speak. Just want to remind you that you have 3 minutes. You will hear my cell phone timer go off. When your time is up, please finish the thought that you're on. No, maybe just the sentence. And because there are many people coming behind you, So I ask that you respect that time. The first person signed up is Tom Kennedy. Not here. Okay. Earl Wallace? Not here? Okay. Sarajani Ibrahim? Okay. Chris Morris?
I'm here. Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, and City Council. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, good. My name is Chris Morris. I'm the director of SLIC, Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change. I've got to remind people that landlords are not in the business of evictions. That is not their business. They do not want evictions. And a good tenant is a most valuable partner. Evictions are troublesome, costly, and always a last resort. In New York State, landlords must go through court. A judge reviews each case, and only then can an eviction proceed through the sheriff's office. This is standard procedure. We know this. Tenants are protected every step of the way. There are processes in place that they can avail themselves of. Good cause legislation strips landlords of essential discretion and control of their own business, even in cases where the relationship no longer works. It governs private contracts and creates legal uncertainty about how and when a tenancy ends. We all want stable housing, that's for sure in Schenectady, but forcing landlords to retain tenants in unworkable or unsafe arrangements hurts an entire building. It drives down quality, discourages investment, and ultimately negatively impacts the good tenants as well as the landlord. What we need, I feel, in this town is balance and flexibility to manage properties fairly, not a blanket law that makes it harder to fix problems and is unfair to either side. Let's focus on a plan that will provide solutions, a city-generated plan, such as proposed by Councilman Mancini. For instance, this plan could provide, number one, more coverage and consistency from code enforcement. Number two, better transparency and a strengthened landlord registration system. Number three, certificate-earning tenant training sessions so renters can learn their rights and their responsibilities and have something positive to show prospective landlords. Number four, support for community organizations that provide legal aid and counseling, such as SCAP and Bethesda House. And number five, continued development of SLIC and the city's preferred properties program. These are just some examples of things that we feel could be beneficial for the whole city and will help solve some of our problems. Again, we urge you to build an affordable housing system that's fair, functional, and focused on good results for everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Lisa Bergen? Benware? Lisa Benware?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can
No.
you speak up a
Can you
little bit?
hear me?
Yes.
I'm Lisa Benware, and I have an owner-occupied two-family. I'm on the board of the Capital District Association of Rental Property Owners and also a member of SLIC. My day job was banking, specifically income property lending. It's a fact that one or a handful of individual small properties is not profitable. So why become a small landlord? Small landlords are do-it-yourselfers with energy. Benefits are depreciation against the tax bill and appreciation of the building. They do this by leveraging their savings and their building along with sweat equity. But financial risks are great for an individual. Since COVID and a couple years free rent, tenants feel newly entitled. So when forced to pay, they feel empowered to trash a unit on the way out in disdain. So in addition to black mold in the bathroom tile repairs, one can expect broken cabinets, kicked-in walls, things more disgusting to describe, as well as possible frozen pipes. Since landlords' recourse to recover costs is a usually uncollectible judgment, this is an effective way to disdain the landlord and his hard-won equity. Good cause requiring legal court eviction to non-renew a problem tenant, exercising his feelings of empowerment, will further add legal costs to months of rent loss restoring a unit and require even higher rises in rent to break even. It's interesting that newer and larger properties are not subject to good cause and its rent control, while small landlords investing in individual old buildings can lose those properties at the whims of a tenant. In these days of housing shortage, I know members who are selling or turning their properties over to the bank, sometimes involuntarily. Big corporations are always buying, and when they own all the properties. I'm from the North Country, where folks are self-sufficient, fair with their neighbors, and politically independent. I would like to think we in the capital region are more like that, unlike New York City with its rent cap since 1920, adding and adding regs to patch the mess. Please trust our judges to deal with occasional injustices. Finally, one of the New York City group pushing good cause in Albany told the council that free housing was the eventual goal. Please think critically of good cause and the eventual effects if it should be passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Hemat Thorkodile? He's not here? Hemat? Hemna? Oh, there he is, okay.
Good evening. My name is Niman Takardale, and I've been a...
No, could you, sir, excuse me,
Sorry.
could you just, lift the microphone? Thank you.
All right. You guys good? Can you hear?
I can hear you.
All right. So my name is Iman Takardale. Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, Madam President, council members. I've been an investor in Schenectady for 19 years as a landlord, and we grew a pretty successful business. But I have a couple of stories here that I've been working with some single mothers over the years, trying to keep them housed. And it's gotten to the point where one of the tenants, she's back and forth in the system, getting assistance and all that good stuff. And it's been 2 years and she's not trying to pay any rent, and I am still working with her. Let me share with you real-time small landlord examples. In 2009, 1115 Chrysler Avenue, we moved her to Division Street. She's still one of our tenants. She's been having issues. We kept working with her. 873 Oakwood, 4 children. Kids went from middle school, high school, college. They're all doing well. We still have that tenant. 1105 Chrysler Avenue. She's the problem tenant that we're still trying to work with. So being a small landlord, we are not here to evict anybody, crucify them. We're here to help and try to make this community better. Thank you.
Thank you. Harlene Andrus?
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy, Council President Porterfield, and council members. First of all, I want to thank you for the endless hours that you have sat and listened to all of us state our case on something that's obviously pretty important to everyone here. The good cause eviction law takes rights away from the property owner, and this law does not properly serve the landlord or the tenant. Please do not create more problems for the homeowners who are stakeholders in the community. These are the people who pay both school, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and the cost of maintaining their properties. The tenants who rent from landlords are their customers, and I think you know that nobody turns away a good customer. Thank you.
Thank you. Fadila Hussein? Fadila Hussein? Husan?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Could you speak up a little bit, please?
Good evening. It's better?
It's a little bit better.
My name is Fadila Hussein. I'm a small landlord in the city of Schenectady. And on behalf of landlords, I would like to address two matters: affordable housing and good cause eviction. For landlords, the cost of doing business in Schenectady is causing increased hardship on us. All the houses in Schenectady are over 100 years old and is more expensive to repair and maintain. Example, I just did a roof replacement which cost $15,000. This will take me about 2.5 years to break even. A roof repair is about $500 to $5,000. I replaced a main sewer line, which cost me $9,000 because the connection was across the street. This was on Albany Street. We also have to do repairs on appliances, hot water tanks, furnaces, and damage caused by tenants include redo kitchen, which cost me $9,000. Other repairs include windows, repair bathrooms, floors, doors, stairs, indoor and outdoor, clock toilets, fixing holes in walls, painting. Building materials went up 30%, and so does the cost of labor. Expenses caused by the tenants are like exterminating of roaches, mice, bed bugs, fleas. Costs range from $500 to $2,000. The destruction by tenants are outrageous. Then codes added another hardship on us. We pay for garbage in the taxes. Now we have to dispose of tenants' household garbage, like furniture, mattresses, bikes, etc. They don't pay for the stickers, so we don't know when they put out these items, so we are slapped with violations by codes. We also get violations for tenants leaving garbage cans on the porch or garbage out on a non-garbage day. Codes increase their violation cost by 50%. Additional costs we face is taxes and insurance. So obviously, it is we, the landlord, who is struggling with the crisis of affordable housing. We too need to put food on our table. Now on good cause eviction, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we need tenants. We want tenants, and we want to keep tenants long term. Both sides benefit from this relationship. Landlord provide housing, and tenant gets shelter. We never ever accept a tenant with the intention of evicting them. So why would we want to do so unless there is a cause? Any cause is a good cause. No one wants to stay in a relationship if it is not working out. Each side has the right to terminate the tenancy. Tenant is also don't follow the clause in the lease, and they still get protection. For landlords, we bear the burden of eviction with attorney fees of $1,000 or more if there's a trial. Then we have to wait 6 months to a year to get the tenants out. The court would not even allow us to ask for a mere $50 late fee.
I need you to summarize, please.
All right. And during all this time, the tenant get to stay for free. The sheriff costs also went up. We are constantly bombarded with regulation that squeezes out of making decisions for our business. What is the city doing for us? A taxpaying citizen. We want you to allow us to manage our rentals as we deem fit. And a side note, there is no benefit in good cause
Please
eviction.
summarize.
I vote no to good cause.
Thank you. Clifford Johnson Jr. God bless
How
you.
you doing? I'm Clifford Johnson Jr. from Schenectady, New I'm Clifford Johnson Jr. from Schenectady, New York, from Strong Street. I moved to Amsterdam because of a landlord out here, moved out there, was out there for 6 months with no water, nothing. They moved us back over here to Schenectady. I've been here for 4 months. They harassed me, my windows are broken in my house. I can't use the basement to turn on my electricity that goes off in the room, and the refrigerator goes off, and I still pay the money, and I'm on a fixed income. I don't get public assistance or nothing, and I can't even park in my driveway because she lives 4 blocks away and she doesn't know when she comes. This is a problem with Schenectady. I've been in Schenectady all my life, and they had good landlords. I'm from Strong Street, I'm 57. But now, it's just like, we can't get nothing done. And if you can't pay in that month, she changed at least three times, and I've been there 4 months. Now, I don't understand where they do that at, but it shouldn't be going on in Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Ty.
Mr. Mayor and City Council member, all the people here. English is my first language, so I hate to speak in the public. But anyway, I still have to air out because I moved to Schenectady in 2009. For 15 years, I'm in a small landlord. And way back, everything was so sweet, just like this hat, sweet. But
Sir, you have to
Okay.
address us. Speak this way.
Because I was supposed to look at the camera. But
No,
anyway,
no, you look this way.
It's okay. Regardless, way back, the system was really good. But all the law keep on changing, whether from the legislation in New York State the government, it's difficult to survive as a landlord. And I have 2 tenants didn't pay me rent. And I tried to evict them. It took almost, like he kept on lying to me, and ended up, he lived there for 1 year, no paying rent. And then last time, I rented out to 2 brothers. They were so nice in the beginning, but in about 2 weeks, I just found out they're selling drugs from their apartment. And they broke my door at least 4 times. I had to fix them. They wouldn't pay for it. They just say, you're the landlord, you're responsible. And then the moment I ask for rent, they are delaying me. And then they just call the court people, an officer to come in, and then just impose fine and whatever their core reinforcement to me, ask me to pay for it, which is not fair to the landlord. Because they don't, if they are the tenant, they don't pay rent, they should be evicted. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve Markham.
Good evening, all. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again tonight. My name is Steve Markham. I am a member of SLIC, but I am speaking for myself tonight as well. I'm a housing provider up in Hamilton Hill. I have lived in one of my units for 18 years. I kind of got a feel for that. I am urging you to vote no on the good cause eviction law, and I will reiterate that I see this as a New York City mandate to deal with the issues that this bill addresses there, and I really have my doubts to its actual significance in the city of Schenectady. 2 weeks ago, I used the term knee-jerk reaction to council members voting in favor of good cause eviction for Schenectady. I took a few minutes to look up the definition to make sure I was using it in the way I meant to. Knee-jerk often has a negative connotation. It usually denotes a too hasty, impulsive, perhaps even irrational response that is often based on preconceived notions. A knee-jerk reaction is when you react without thinking everything through. The reaction is usually aggressive and in most times will produce a negative consequence. I also use the term due diligence, which is a law and business term that most of the adults in this room are familiar with. I looked this up as well. For the law term, the description states the care that a reasonable person exercises to avoid harm to other persons or their property. For the business term, research and analysis of a company or organization done in preparation for a business transaction. Make no doubt about it, as a city council right now is charged with making a business decision that affects many small housing providers, businesses in Schenectady, as well as its constituents. And while the attempt to provide housing for everybody is a noble cause, it further places negative financial burdens on the shoulders and pockets of said housing providers. I am very much in favor of Councilman Joseph Mancini's proposal for a housing task force and with a proposed 4-month limit to evaluate and consider the pros and cons of this legislation and see what, if any, actually benefits Schenectady's housing providers and tenants. As a few final words taken from a recent Gazette editorial, there is no shame in not having the answers. The shame is in not being willing to go the extra mile to find them. So let's make this work for all of us.
Thank you. Mina Badu? Mina Badu? Mina? No? Okay. Barath Arjun?
Mr. Mayor, Madam President, council members, I couldn't find this place. I haven't been here so long. Most of you know who I am. I know some of you. Anyway, I've been living in Schenectady now for 19 years. Everything seems to be okay. Not great as far as tenant-landlord relationship goes. The good cause eviction is something we don't need. Why? Tenant has enough rights and more rights right now than a landlord. There are no brochures downstairs on landlord's rights. I went to look, I couldn't find none in housing. However, there are a brochure there that's about this thick on tenants' rights. Why are we compounded to allow more rights to the tenants, whereas the landlord is being held to a high esteem? Evictions, as we know, everybody said it, is $1,200 to $1,400 now, not counting loss of rent. Most of the judges, for what I was told, are now postponing the trial for a hearing. During this period of time, no rent is being paid. Someone says 6 months. I don't know. So that's not needed and uncalled for. If you can disband a matter, dismiss it, do it right now. That's the judge's call. There's no need for a trial if you have your ducks in a row. The landlord, that is. So what can I say? Is that we, our landlord, are fighting a losing battle. No need to go down with the Titanic. And that's what's going to happen if you guys vote on this bill. I urge you to vote no. There's no need for it. There's enough laws on the books right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammed Hafez? Mohammed Hafez?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council Member, Council President. My name is Mohammed Hafiz, and I'm a Schenectady landlord. I'm here to speak against the proposed good cause eviction law because this law is one-sided, grossly unjust, and biased against landlords. It takes away our liberty as landlord and our legal right to manage our property. This law undermines the most basic property right, as it prevents property owner from doing what they want with their property. This law compels the landlord to be stuck with the tenant indefinitely, while the tenants can still exercise the right not to renew the lease. The law compels the landlord to seek approval for property improvement from the tenant or from the court. Totally unjust. This law turned the landlord's intention of filing an eviction into a factual issue, turning every eviction case into a trial, clogging up the court system and wasting taxpayers' money and time. The rent cap proposal would discourage capital improvement and any new development in Schenectady. The housing stock will decline rapidly, and I promise you, rent will increase if you pass this law. Rather than being burdened with the restriction of this unjust law, property owners already are talking about turning the multifamily properties into single family to ease their selling. We will all be hurt by this misguided regulation of the rental business. It has been worse every time the government intervened in the past regulating the rental business. This law is biased against landlord, and landlord will fight it. Landlord will fight back. Landlord will require higher credit scores. They will raise the rent. They will leave the apartment vacant. They will convert multi-unit housing into single families. While it may appear to be helping tenants, this law will just make finding affordable apartment a lot harder for tenants. Please do not vote for the good cause eviction in Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike DiLorenzo? Mike DiLorenzo? Okay. Sean Radigan?
Yeah, hey. So you all know who I am by this point, I think. I've been here since April talking about this. I want the people of Schenectady to have stable housing, and I think that good cause eviction is a step in that direction. I'm not a paid activist. I live here in the city of Schenectady, and I just care deeply about improving the fabric of our community by providing for the material conditions of our people. We didn't bring good cause to Schenectady because it's an election year for council members. It's literally just because we heard about the success in Albany, and I personally am here because I had some time to dedicate to spreading awareness. I'm part of the Capital District Democratic Socialists of America, and our chapter covers the Warren, Saratoga, Schenectady, Albany, Greene, and Columbia counties. As a DSA chapter, we decided to organize this way rather than dividing ourselves by city or county because we recognize that the issues faced by the poor and working class people don't stop at city borders. They're symptoms of a broader system that values corporate profits over the health and well-being of people and their community. The housing crisis is not unique to Schenectady. It's a countrywide, some would argue global phenomena. It's good news for Schenectady. If this was the only city with a housing problem, I think we would all be very concerned about that. I personally think every city should have a board, committee, or some other body specifically dedicated to housing issues. And if Schenectady wants to start a task force to gather information, that sounds great. But I think there's too much to do to spend time reinventing the wheel. I think in some ways it's a lot like healthcare. Obviously every patient is different, but if every time a patient walked into an office with high blood pressure and the doctor had to develop a new peer-reviewed research study to treat them rather than relying on decades of prior research, we would waste a lot of time. And while we waited, people would suffer. The housing crisis is much the same way. There will absolutely be things that are more or less effective in Schenectady compared to other places, but there's no reason to start from scratch. While the city council might might be able to opt into good cause at any time. The longer you wait, the longer tenants remain vulnerable. The studies have been done. The research is here, but the tools in front of you, but of the tools to address this in front of you, good cause is one of the best. If you think you've heard how your constituents feel about good cause eviction, or if you think that people are not being unjustly evicted from their homes, face lease non-renewals out of retaliation, or that we're not having a housing crisis, then you're not talking to your constituents. I've been out telling the public about good cause eviction, and I only get 1 or 2 sentences out before they are volunteering their story, their struggle with housing. If you want a really easy way to connect with your constituents, go stand in front of the Mount Pleasant Library or walk down Eastern Ave and just ask people if they want to hear about good cause eviction. People need good cause eviction, and if you don't know that, then you haven't been listening.
I need you to summarize.
To the people who have stood up here and spoken in the past weeks, or to the broader community.
Thank you. Laurel Barnes.
Good evening, City Council, Mr. Mayor, Madam President. You all know my story. I've told it many times. I am afraid of retaliation against my landlord. He has threatened me to not renew my lease next year just because I'm a troublemaker. That's not a good cause. There's no way in heck that's a good cause. I mean, I don't know if any of you are renters. I kind of highly doubt it. But it's frightening. I'm afraid to ask him for any kind of help that I need in my apartment. He never comes by to see if anything's wrong. And he also never answers his phone. He leaves it either to go to a voicemail or he presses the button and says, I'll call you later, and he never does. Hell, I don't consider that a very good landlord. This good cause eviction is not against the good landlords here. It's against the LLCs, the people that run a business, and they don't care about us. We're just a number. We don't have a name with them, not at all. I bet none of our numbers are even in our landlord's phone, so he knows who he's talking to. He never answers me by name. He never answers anybody by name. Yet he comes down to his Citgo station, which is right across the street from Jackson Avenue, every weekday. He never turns around and comes down here to Jackson Avenue to check. My other landlord was pretty good at that, but he sold it to the most evil person on this earth. And I tried to be pleasant with him. I tried to be nice. He was pleasant in the beginning, but now that I've told him a few things, he doesn't want to hear it anymore. And the words that came out of his mouth is, I don't want to get involved. You're a landlord, you have to get involved. I can guarantee you probably most of these people are getting involved. They help their tenants, but the LLCs do not. We're just a number. He was almost going to kick me and my downstairs neighbor out because Section 8 wasn't going to give him the $900 rent every month until he got his way. He was threatening us for that. And just because you couldn't get the big amount that you want, which our small apartments are not even worth that. So I beg you to vote yes and don't listen to the threats out of Trump's book.
Thank you. Hema Singh. Hema Singh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy and council members. My name is Hema. I'm a high school junior, and I'm here today as a student, a resident, and as someone who deeply cares about this city. I am asking you, no, I am urging you to vote yes on opting in on the good cause eviction. Right now, Schenectady ranks among the top cities in the state for eviction filings. Good cause eviction doesn't hurt the good landlords. It supports fairness. It requires that landlords have an actual reason to evict tenants. This issue is urgent. Our communities cannot afford delay. Every day we wait, another family risks eviction. Another tenant stays silent out of fear. Another child falls asleep, not knowing if they'll be waking up in the same home next month. Sending the good cause eviction to a committee is an avoidance. While we wait, people are being pushed out of their homes. Other cities like Albany, Kingston, and Ithaca have already taken action. Why should Schenectady be left behind? This vote is about values. Do we value housing as a human right? Do we value that stability brings stronger communities? Or are we willing to let families live on the edge of eviction, unsure of whether they'll be here next month? Please vote yes, opt in, protect our neighbors, and please protect our futures. Thank you.
Thank you. Esther May Balson.
Can you hear me?
Can you speak up a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, council members. My name is Esther May Bolson, and I am a student at Schenectady High School. I'm here tonight to urge you to vote yes on good cause eviction, not just as a policy decision, but as a lifeline for families like mine. This isn't just about rent. It's about stability, mental health, and our future. Studies show that kids who face eviction are more likely to miss school, have anxiety, and fall behind in class. At just 9 years old, kids exposed to eviction have lower math, memory, and vocabulary scores. That means eviction is literally shaping how we grow up and what we can achieve. Schenectady already struggles with a child poverty rate of 18%. We cannot afford to lose more students to housing instability. Good cause eviction would protect families who are doing everything right, who pay their rent and follow the rules, from being pushed out unfairly. It gives us a chance to stay in our schools, our neighborhoods, and our communities. I know some of you care deeply about the well-being of young people in this city. I'm asking you to show it by protecting our homes. Please pass good cause eviction for students, for families, and for the future of Schenectady. Thank you.
Thank you. Babette Famel.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I am a proxy for
You have to
Ms.
speak up a little bit more.
Little? Hello, I do have a message from Ms. Fama. Please listen.
I'm a tenured professor teaching at Schenectady Community College. So I'm mentioning that because I make a pretty good salary. About 2 years ago, my rent was raised by $400 in one swoop. And I have to say, it really was a big issue for me. I barely had the money to pay the higher rent. I picked up some additional work, but I turned out to be fine. But I can honestly not imagine how a person with less job security than I have would have dealt with the situation like that. And I also also don't think it is sustainable for a community, for residents to live with like this kind of insecurity where you basically wait every year for the notice if your landlord will raise the rent or not. It also has a trickle-down effect because, I mean, I managed to stay in my wonderful apartment because I cut down on pretty much everything. The last time I went out to dinner is like, I don't know, months ago. I no longer go to the farmer's market because I can't afford it. So it's not just about the rent. It's about the whole city and the economy in the city and the people living here and the people working to make this place what it is. So I hope you will consider voting yes on no good cause evictions.
Thank you. Wanda Reyes. Wanda Reyes.
A message from Wanda.
God bless everybody. Hi, my name is Wanda. I'm just gonna give a short message. My landlord's getting me evicted for no reason. It's not like reasons to get anybody out because rent is up to date, the apartment's being taken care of. There is nothing that a real cause reason for him to take me out. But again, we're not protected, and I'm hope and pray that this cause that we guys are trying to do now, it goes through so we could protect ours. I wish everybody luck. I pray that it goes through. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Jamaica Miles.
So I find it really interesting because someone had already mentioned about whether or not folks that sit in this room happen to know what's happening out in the city that you say that you serve. And some of us, for the last 5 years specifically, but the last 25, if you count how long I've been doing this work, have been talking to community members every single day. Every day, and doing whatever it takes to make sure their voices are heard. Doing whatever it takes to make sure their voices are heard, because it's not always accessible to come to this building. It's not always as easy as sending an email or to come here and sign up, but making sure that you're talking to people and you're listening to their stories and you're getting the facts and the data that already exists, that has been mentioned week after week after week after week after year after year after year after year. But instead, we have to contend with fear-mongering that happens to occur, something that the Republican Party is really strong on. But I sit here in a room that is filled with Democrats, or at least that is what I am told, that I'm sitting here in the room that is full of Democrats. But what I hear from some of the members happens to sound a lot like a Donald Trump, or it happens to sound a lot like the Republican Party. So I'm trying to understand in this moment, are we here for the people, or are we here for politics? Because if you're here for politics, if you want to make sure that you don't push forward a piece of legislation because of who brought it forward, then you're in the wrong business. You're not here for the people. If you're worried about protecting a political party from people that you no longer want in office, then you're in the wrong business. You're not here for the people, you're here for the party. I, on the other hand, as well as some of the members I know very well, we stand with the people, not about the government. So we have an opportunity to do something that's good for the city of Schenectady. And we can either do the right thing because it's the right thing, or we can pretend like there's something wrong with it even though you have no credible evidence standing in front of you. Because there are plenty of times that folks have stepped forward and did the right thing even though the opposition was yelling at them. Nobody wanted Black Lives Matter on the pavement outside. They were screaming no to Black Lives Matter, and then they said we want Black Lives Matter removed. And we had an opportunity to make sure it stayed, and we heard with a resounding, we are here for Black Lives Matter, and as long as I'm in this seat, it will stay on the street. But if Black Lives Matter, then you make sure that everyone has access and opportunity to housing, and use every single tool that is in your toolbox. You don't wait for the next thing to come. You look for every single opportunity, and here we are, there's an opportunity, and it's sitting in front of you right now. This wonderful opportunity that has been proven for decades in other locations. This isn't a pretend, oh, what if something happens? We know what happens when good cause passes, because we've seen it in other cities. We've seen it in other states. So it's not a question mark. It's not an I wonder. And to anyone that leaves the city because good cause passes, goodbye.
Thank you. Valerie Triano.
Good afternoon, City Council members. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of good cause passing in Schenectady, and also how I'd like to see the City of Schenectady to invest more in the residents of Schenectady. The invested development in downtown Schenectady is very beautiful, from the taxes from Rivers Casino, cannabis dispensaries, and property tax rate increase in Schenectady. However, it's time to start using those taxes to focus on fixing the infrastructure of the Schenectady neighborhoods outside of downtown Schenectady in the Stockade area. Everything looks run down. The roads need to be fixed, buildings need work done, and tons of homeless folks. It's time to stop only focusing on the gentrification of downtown Schenectady to attract tourists and start investing our taxes in improving the lives of Schenectady residents who live outside of the downtown Schenectady and Stockade area. Data from the census reporter reflects that the poverty rate in Schenectady was 18.9% as of 2023, and the median household income is $55,465. I'd love to see our taxes invested in people over profits, uplifting our impoverished communities, helping the homeless permanently off the streets, not just temporarily or in jails, uniting all the classes through solidarity and class consciousness. I'd also like to speak on my disappointment with the City Council July 14th for voting no on a public hearing for a good cause. The no votes clearly told me that those of you who voted no do not care about hearing the voices of your constituents who you serve and voted you into your current positions. I've noticed from my observation on the Schenectady City Council voting track records don't align very well with Jesus' teachings. Jesus' teachings are centered around loving your neighbor, feeding the hungry, helping those in need, and that wealth is a spiritual obstacle by teaching that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The Bible's motto is of stewardship, not greed. Landlords should see their role as serving people, not just profiting from them. So I leave you to reflect on, do you run the City of Schenectady based on Jesus' teachings of radical compassion, or are you a hypocrite? If you're wondering why I'm bringing this up at City Council meeting when there's supposed to be separation of church and state, I'd like to remind y'all that you start every City Council meeting with a Christian prayer for wisdom as you make your decisions, excluding tonight's meeting, of course. I wrote this on Friday night, sorry. So please vote yes on good cause eviction law, and thank you very much for your time for listening to me.
Thank you. Ellie Pepper.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, City Council members. My name is Ellie Pepper. I've lived in the city of Schenectady for 30 years as a homeowner, and my background is in homeownership and housing affordability. I want to start out by saying if you're a landlord right now and you're evicting tenants right now without going through court, you are breaking the law and are liable to be charged with misdemeanor. I want to respond to something Councilmember DeToro said during the committee discussion on opting into good cause eviction. She emphasized the importance of helping tenants become homeowners, as though that's where our focus should be instead. I agree, homeownership is a great goal, and it is a big part of my work. But let's be real, one eviction can completely destroy that dream. If miraculously a tenant has been able to save any amount of money to put toward home ownership, that money will be gone in an instant, used instead for security deposit, first and last month's rent, and moving costs. And even if they manage to move quickly, An eviction on their record makes mortgage approval much harder. Why? Without savings or stable housing history, lenders are far less likely to approve a mortgage application. So eviction isn't just a disruption, it's a dead end on the path to homeownership. And let's talk numbers. In the city of Schenectady, over half of renters, 50.6% to be exact, are cost burden, meaning they pay more than 30% of their income on housing. And 31.3% of renters are severely cost burdened, paying over half of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. When people are spending that much on rent, how can they possibly build credit? How do they save? It's not that they don't want to own a home, it's that the system is designed to keep them from ever getting close. If you really want to support tenant home ownership, the first step is keeping them stably housed. Opting into good cause gives tenants a fair shot. It protects against unjust evictions and gives renters the stability they need to build towards home ownership. Over the last several weeks, you've heard from landlords and tenants. Some of you have said you want proof of retaliatory or illegal evictions. But I haven't heard any of you ask for proof when landlords talk about so-called bad tenants and incredible costs to maintain their property. Why are tenants expected to prove everything while landlords are believed without question? Good cause is not the end-all solution, but it is a necessary piece of the housing puzzle alongside landlord support, code enforcement, affordability efforts, and development incentives. Without it, renters remain the most vulnerable link in the housing system, and if you are serious about homeownership and housing stability, opting into good cause is the action you can take right now.
Thank you. Chris Sue.
Good evening, council members. I'm here to voice my support for a good cause. We previously heard the definition of due diligence. I'm here to supply the definition of duty of care, which is the responsibility to act to avoid causing harm to others, which I believe applies in the case for landlords in regards to tenants. And we also want to talk about how laws don't happen in a vacuum with the Schenectady Rental Certificate Program. Well, the elephant in the room is the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Giving tax breaks to higher income people that I didn't hear the landlords mention at all. They say costs go up, but they don't talk about taxes. SALT deduction increases, while also kicking millions of people off Medicaid, Medicare, and Section 8 housing. So these all benefit landlords while letting the bottom fall out on our tenants and society and families. Also speaking on the task force, I noticed the language excludes knowledgeable and experienced tenant activists not based in Schenectady. So I believe it should be expanded to Capital Region because it's very close and we're all a big community here. And also, if I lived outside the US and I had own land here in Schenectady, I'd be giving a seat at the table in this task force. Well, I feel like that's kind of weird, but also the results 120 days from now or when it's passed, I feel like, isn't that after the election? Are you guys just trying to hide from your electorate? I don't know. Thanks. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you. Bridget Savage Spees. Bridget? And what is your
Good
name?
evening.
What is your name?
Mariah Lopez. Good evening, everybody. One, I'd like to apologize. My name is Mariah Lopez. I haven't been able to attend a lot of the hearings in the last few months because I run an organization that is responsible for doing groundbreaking work to end homelessness in New York City. We're supervising a first-of-its-kind settlement and a $25 million all-trans shelter that just opened July 1st, but I'm here. So, I have notes. I'm neurospicy. I think I've got my notes pretty down packed. And I came tonight to highlight, to many of you who know me and know my face, the fact that most of the landlord's comments into the record, I'm sure over the last few weeks, seem to underscore their opposition, not just for good cause, but for laws that are already on the books. Right before I moved to Schenectady, and I am absolutely gonna go over about a minute, I timed it, but it is necessary to point out, I haven't done it yet, so please don't interrupt me, that'd be a violation of my First Amendment rights. My story is indicative of many people, but I have had extraordinary luck in navigating the landlord-tenant court system here because I have legal skills that most do not. But most of you have watched me, hi Brendan, Your Honor, counsel, navigate the legal system here in ways that most tenants will not. So I will, as a trans woman of color running the oldest trans rights organization in the country, go over a minute. But most landlords here have cited two things. They don't like due process, they don't like due process, they don't like due process. When I moved here in 2019, I was leaving a life of chronic homelessness in New York City, having sued New York City DHS, you can look that up. But I depended on Schenectady, and ironically, these courts and these judges, who I trust when you empower them, to uphold the rights of tenants, including myself. But the rights that were passed by the legislature in 2019 seem to be, I think it's Real Property Law 222 subsection B, 223 subsection B. The rights of tenants to be free against retaliation, to have the presumption of retaliation when they've made a single good cause complaint, those are the rights they seem to be objecting to. And again, many of you know me personally, so I'm not gonna read a lot of my story into the record because many of you know it, but I trust, and this is extraordinary, I trust local judges. So ironically, in spite of what they are saying, the issue is not a burdensome legal system. These people can vote in statewide elections to repeal the amendments made to the real property law before the pandemic. It sounds like a lot of the landlords here need to be educated in the law. The good cause protections that you will extend, because you will, I'm at my minute. I hear you.
Young lady, excuse me, I cannot give you an extra minute. Everyone else abided by the time.
You didn't do that when it rang for anyone else. So you're gonna you don't know where I was. I could have been right about to be done and you interrupted me.
You
will pass good
10
cause
seconds.
eviction because we trust Judge McGurl and we trust Judge Frost and we trust Judge Filatico. I've never seen a person on the other side of the V, and I have had historic wins. I am going to go down in the annals of LGBT rights history, and you will not. But I trust the legal system when we empower judges to make the right decisions based on due process. I've never seen a person on the other side of a V afraid of due process unless they were doing wrong. You know these judges. Many of them were your colleagues in the Democratic Party before they were elected. Give them the power and provide tenants the resources and the protections that match your Democratic colleagues around the state. No one wins. No one should have to cheat to win. Thank you.
Chris Sue. So Chris doesn't want to go? Oh, okay. All right. Bridget Savage Spees.
Hi, my name is Bridget Savage Spees. I have to say I'm rather disappointed in the council's decision to vote against holding a public hearing on this issue. Since that decision, myself and others have been out knocking on doors and flyering around Schenectady and Hamilton Hill and other areas to hear from tenants about what they think the issues are, about what they are experiencing. And I think a public hearing would have been a good format for you guys to hear that too, and I'm disappointed that you haven't. There were most of the people that we had talked to were not aware that you guys were voting on good cause. And I know that you've heard from myself many times, and I know you're probably tired of hearing from me, but there are a lot of other good people who you did not get the opportunity to hear from because it was not published as being a public hearing. But that aside, there are the issue of this task force. I think it is ill-timed to say that you do not want a public hearing to hear from tenants and other people about the issues that they themselves are experiencing, but instead would like to put together a task force of, nonprofits, landlords, and, a couple of tenants who have the time out of their day to go to an unpaid task force meeting without childcare or anything like that provided. And while I think that every city needs a committee or group looking into housing solutions, because I think that's at the root of many issues, like crime rates and low test scores or graduation rates, right? I think housing issues like that are really important to look into to solve those problems. But I have serious issues with a task force whose stated goals are to gather information that has already been given to you. And I understand that good cause may seem new and untested, but it's been in New York State for 2 years. It's been in New Jersey since the 70s. It's been in California since 2023. I sent you all an article last week. I'm not sure if you had a chance to read it, but it was from the American Academy of Pediatrics that came out in 2021. And it cited just cause eviction policies, very similar. Some people just call them just cause, as being a policy that physicians should advocate for in order to improve housing stability, as being one of the biggest determinants for health for young children. And so while this may seem new and untested to you, this is a gold standard policy that physicians, housing advocates, and many other people have looked to for, Jersey has had it since the 70s, once again. I'm really glad that I did have the opportunity to knock on doors in this city, though, because I don't think there was a single tenant who I met who didn't have either personal or, direct connection to someone who had experienced housing instability. And I was knocking all over the city. And so I really do think that it is incredibly important that we pass good cause eviction for all of the people who could not be here today. So thank you.
Thank you. Ian Evans.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you all so much for your time. My name is Ian Evans. I am a civil servant who works here in the Capital Region. Before I had my current position, over 50% of my income was going to my rent. And I don't think that's fair as somebody who serves local government and just wants to help people. I think that it's just should be our right to be able to have housing. And like everyone on this side has been saying, it's work. This isn't something new. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. And I just hope that everybody here is brave enough to vote yes on good cause eviction.
Thank you. Rocky Palmer.
Council members, Mayor, Madam President, I like to listen to the other side, really try to understand them, because I know there's some middle ground. I just had someone come up here and said she's some sort of someone who works in housing, just kind of give a couple lies, saying landlords are performing illegal evictions. I'd like to know what illegal eviction she's talking about. She said that they're paying security plus first month and last month's rent, so three times monthly security to move in. That was made illegal in 2019. She said she's a housing coordinator, someone like very well versed in these things. I don't understand why they have to lie about these things. Again, already long-standing protections for tenants. From my own experience, they're given the benefit of the doubt at every step of the process. I've had court cases where the first meeting they say, I need a lawyer, it's adjourned another 2 weeks, then they say I'm sick, another 2 weeks. That's just the process. Again, we have tenant protections already in place in New York State. Just like bottom line, good cause is gonna help bad tenants, it's gonna help lawyers, it's gonna hurt good tenants with higher rents, and it will happen. And it's gonna hurt landlords as well. It's also gonna hurt the good tenants with more stringent qualifications. And I just hope you guys take into consideration the negative effects passing something like this will incur. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Treen.
Good evening, Mayor McCarthy and council members. My name is Ryan Treen. I'm here to represent a small volunteer organization called the Explorers Guild. We regularly work with people without homes in the capital area, including at the Schenectady Rescue Mission. I thought I'd start trying to understand a critical source of the homelessness problem, which is unfair evictions. I'm going to cite some statistics which will show that housing is unfair in Schenectady. Then I will make the argument that good cause is an opportunity for us to rise together as a community. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 52% of people in Schenectady who are unhoused or in transitional housing are Black or African American. As of 2023 in November, despite making up only 10.25% of the population. And I think this disparity makes a lot of sense. According to the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, Black Americans account for 51.1% of those affected by eviction filings and 43.4% of those evicted. The National Low-Income Housing Coalition found that families with children are twice as likely to be evicted, with the problem being dramatically worse for Black children. Without good cause, landlords don't need to show that they have a good reason to get rid of a tenant. If they already feel that they do, which is a valid feeling, then good cause will not affect them, and I think that's okay. Given its many stipulations of how to properly evict a tenant, as named good cause, there is an opportunity for Schenectady to be a more stable and fair place to live, so I urge you to pass good cause eviction, and in doing so, make our community more stable, more affordable, and fair. Thank you.
Thank you. Brennan Howell. Brennan Howell.
Hello, council members. My name is Brennan Howell. I am a volunteer organizer with Capital District DSA. In the volunteer work that I do, I have spoken firsthand to countless tenants across the capital region about their living conditions. And no matter where these tenants live, their concerns are overwhelmingly about affordability and stability. Here in Schenectady, opting into good cause would immediately grant needed protections to the majority of residents, the tenants who make up your constituency. More than 1 in 8 residents are experiencing poverty, and that number is nearly 1 in 5 for children. It's the obligation of this body to ensure that the residents of this city have the opportunity to not only live here, but to thrive. If we want to ensure that the residents of Schenectady have access to stability, then it seems imperative that families can remain in their homes without the worry of a baseless eviction. If we look at the municipalities that have passed good cause, landlording has remained a very profitable endeavor. This legislation targets landlords who aren't engaging in their business with tenants in good faith, which according to some of the previous speakers today, they'll have nothing to worry about when this legislation passes. And ultimately, adopting a policy in Schenectady that will protect residents from ways in which they're currently being harmed. A sudden change in housing arrangement might affect a landlord's investment, but it might leave a tenant out on the street. Good cause allows for the city to continue to hone its housing policy and helping those falling through the cracks right now. Thank you for your time, and I urge you to vote yes on good cause.
Thank you. Jackson McCloskey Hawk.
Right. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? All right.
I just want to start by pointing out that some of the folks in this room just had to be schooled on basic human rights by high schoolers. So I just want to appreciate that fact. Not all of you, but some of you. My name's Jackson. I'm a school teacher here in Schenectady, and I'm here as a homeowner and a tenant ally. Councilperson Mancini has suggested that instead of good cause, we establish a task force where we, quote, bring together local stakeholders from the agencies that know these issues best and come up with real solutions for Schenectady, end quote. Now that is a statement designed to sound reasonable, and to many it might. However, agencies are not the ones that risk losing their homes because of slumlords who want to raise rent prices by ridiculously large percentages. The people in this room are here because we know that we need good cause now. We don't need a task force to tell us that our unhoused loved ones need access to housing. We don't need a task force to tell us whether or not it is reasonable for a landlord to charge a 30% rent increase. We don't need a task force to explain to us why our city government has decided to allow people to die in the streets rather than help give them a fairer shot at retaining good housing. In fact, I'd really love to know how many of you here are in imminent danger of losing your home. Please, feel free to raise your hands. Yes, landlords, I'm talking to you. Thought so. So you have the option to observe this from afar. So do I. I'm here to show you that having access to housing security does not grant you the right to play with people's lives. This task force is nothing but a way to appease landlords who can, at worst, get a real job if these rent and eviction protections truly destroy their beloved business of being parasites on our community. We do not need more research to find data that we already possess about an issue that we already understand. I urge everyone on this council to vote no on Councilperson Mancini's Housing Stability Task Force, whatever that means, and vote yes on prohibition of eviction without good cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina McCauley. Christina McCauley.
Good evening. My name is Christina Macaluso, resident of the city of Schenectady and a social worker. I am here to speak on behalf of vulnerable populations of clientele I have worked with. This includes families with young children that are at or below the poverty line, veterans, and adults with severe and persistent mental illness. From these individuals I have worked with, I have learned first-handedly the discriminatory housing practices that occur against individuals related to what are supposed to be protected characteristics defined by the Fair Housing Act. This has led to not only housing distress for individuals in our community, but also mental, physical, and other serious complications related to the social determinants of health. Honest, hardworking people who are doing their best to support themselves and their families when the odds have been made against them because of privileges they have not been gifted with at birth. It is difficult for people to accomplish their goals without housing that allows them to feel safe and secure. When voting on the important issue of good cause eviction, I ask that you please consider the importance of compassion and empathy for renters, especially those with hardships or characteristics we may or may not ourselves have gone through or identify with.
Thank you. Robin English.
Good evening, Mayor, Madam President, and City Council. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Robin English. I have been a tenant in an apartment complex in Schenectady for 20 years. For 17 of those years, my then next door neighbor, Slick Director Chris Morris, was a resident property manager. Through that connection, I become involved with both Slick and monthly meetings and the 24/7 job of caring for the property and its tenants. I handled hospitality and attended all Slick meetings, so I have been listening to landlord-tenant issues and the many legal challenges landlords face. I have seen firsthand how property and its tenants were cared for, but have also witnessed circumstances of tenants' abuse of the property despite the rules of a signed contract. Of course, the usual noise, parking, garbage, code violations, and yes, non-payment of rent, etc., and the list goes on. The three most significant examples of tenant problems were major drug-related break-in and, sadly, two murders, all quite shocking in our beautiful little community. I learned over these years that renting and living near others can be tricky. My apartment works for me, location, layout, etc. But who am surrounded by and their lifestyles are a great concern for me personally. I think that landlords should have the obligation to provide safe, well-managed, law-abiding property, but should definitely have the ability to govern the business he owns, continue to pay, and ultimately responsible. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public comment on the legislative agenda closed. At this time, I'd ask for approval of the legislative consent agenda. Moved by Mr. Mudavaren, second by Mr. Farley. All those in favor? Aye. We have 2 items for roll call this evening, and the clerk could please read item number 1.
Item number 1, a local law to create Article 5, Section 210-20 to Chapter 210 of the Schenectady City Code, prohibition of eviction without good cause.
Need a motion? Mr. Williams, second. Mr. Farley? Okay. Is there any discussion on this item? Item number 1. Mr. Williams?
Thank you. As public servants, our ability to lead effectively depends on our understanding of the communities we represent. That's why the public discourse around the current state of housing in our city is so troubling. I've heard comments ranging from Schenectady is not having a problem with housing to both sides can work together to address these little concerns. Statements like these dismiss the very real and urgent issues raised by tenants. Skyrocketing rents, prolonged maintenance delays, and uncertainty around lease renewals due to inadequate tenant protections. These are not little concerns. They are the lived realities of residents, and they are exactly why good cause eviction was proposed. If offered a balanced framework, guidelines for landlords, and basic stability for tenants, ensuring that responsible tenants could remain in safe, secure homes. What I've observed from opponents of this measure has been largely emotional rhetoric and broad claims, lacking the substantive, fact-based, or the legislative reasoning to justify their stance. Frankly, I find it deeply disappointing. And now, rather than address these challenges head-on, we are preparing to offload our responsibility to a task force, one whose scope of authority, membership criteria, and governance structure has not even been clearly defined or vetted. This feels less like a commitment to problem solving and more like an effort to mislead and distract our community.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? If not, the clerk could.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess quickly what we'll just talk about is, let's just be honest about this. I've heard people with opposing views to good cause, and even tonight, I was jotting down the notes. We heard about tenants for non-payment, tenants causing severe property damage, tenants selling drugs, and I think we even heard about homicide. I just want to be very, very clear that under good cause, every single one of these things that was brought up today is permissible to evict someone under good cause as it stands. We just have to deal with the facts. This is not about purpose. This is about power. This is how it's playing out And I'm apologize. I'm grateful for people who have come here who have shared their stories and who are vulnerable enough with us to tell us about their lived experience. I thank you and I appreciate that greatly, but I deeply am sorry that it is falling on deaf ears here tonight. This is not about common sense legislation. This is about making sure that certain people who are in a privileged capacity get the protections that they don't need. I think that it's really important that we highlight the fact that people have said they want data. So we've produced data, mounds and mounds of data. Not one piece of data, not one data point has come into the council from anyone and opposed to good cause. So that's how I know it's not about the data. It's not about the facts. Every time anyone that's speaking against this has said all of these crazy stories about their tenants, and guess what? I believe you. I believe that those things happen. And I also know that good cause will allow you to evict people under those circumstances. So when tenants come forth and they're saying that they have been retaliated against and they're in fear of their own livelihood, I believe them too. And the difference is that good cause will protect them and make sure that they and their families have someplace stable to live. I can't express how my deep disappointment into the fact that this has turned into a political football and posturing about who owns and maintains power in this when people's livelihoods are at stake.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion from the council? If not, the clerk could please call the roll.
Mr. Toro? Mr. Farley?
Yes.
Mr. Mancini?
No.
Mr. Mutavaran?
No.
Ms. Patrick? Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Porterfield?
Yes, I'd like to explain my vote. So just so everyone knows, I took the time to listen to everything that everyone had to say. And beyond that, I took the time to look at the legislation and read it thoroughly. And I've talked to many landlords, spoke to one as up till today, because what we're talking about really, in my opinion, deserves the time and the effort to put into it and to make sure that we are fully informed about the decision that we're making. And so in terms of that, I do have the information here in front of me. It's already been stated, but most landlords have told me that people don't pay their rent. Well, good cause covers that. People have told me they create a nuisance. They're chronically late on their payments. Good cause covers that. They sell drugs out of the apartment. Good cause covers that. They violate the lease, like moving more people in than the lease says. Good cause covers that. And also, if you want to move someone in from your family, your immediate family, it tells you who, you can ask people to move for that. So many of the things that were brought to me from landlords, because as I said, I took the time to talk to landlords, because I'm not going to look at just one side of this issue. Everything that was brought to me were things that good cause covers. So I don't know if everyone had the opportunity or took the time to do that. So considering all of those things, I think that good cause, it offers protections for landlords as well as tenants. I spoke to a landlord today who stopped me. It's like, what is this all about? And they already told me that the courts are backed up. Something I'm hearing is going to happen. This landlord said it's already happening because people have to go to trial. So what's being said is something that, according to the landlord who has a property, is already happening. So good cause, again, it provides protections for landlords, and it also provides protection for tenants. So Kevin, consider all of that. I vote yes on good cause. But the motion is defeated 4-3. Item number 15.
Item Item number 15 for original consideration, a resolution establishing a city housing stability task force.
Need a motion?
Motion. Vote.
Oh, any discussion?
Second.
Right. Is there any discussion? Mr. Williams?
So although I was not present, the Housing Task Force, it leaves me asking myself, what is this really? Because while this legislation is represented as an opportunity to foster compromise and inclusive dialogue, it comes solely at the recommendation of SLIC, an organization that has been most vocal opponent of good cause eviction. What's more concerning is in the lack of any real effort to engage tenant-facing organizations in this process, their voices, the ones closest to the lived struggles of renters, has been noticeably absent from these discussions. I'm troubled by the sudden emphasis on hearing from the community when many of the same members of this council voted down the public forum on a nearly identical issue. Who exactly are we choosing to listen from now? Why are we rushing to prioritize a measure at best that requires further due diligence, and at worst, duplicates resources that may already exist either within or adjacent to our municipality? These concerns were raised clearly at this year's housing forum, and yet they appear to have gone unaddressed. Improperly assembling a task force without a transparent scope, clear governance, or diverse representation not only risks misrepresenting the needs of our community, but may also create additional barriers to meaningful change. And ultimately, I am firmly opposed to the idea of shifting our legislative responsibilities onto the community. Our constituents entrusted us to gather information, weigh it with care, and make informed decisions on their behalf. Pushing that duty aside is not leadership, it's avoidance. To me, this feels like another failed attempt to do something instead of taking the time to do the right thing.
Any further? Mr. Farley?
I'll be brief this time, Madam President. Again, I'm just listening to what I heard here today at the rail in other meetings. I've heard someone today said, any cause is a good cause. Any cause is a good cause to uproot a family from their home. I've also heard some of my colleagues say, we don't have a housing problem. So I guess my question is, if we don't have a housing problem, well, then it's pretty clear that the data shows us that we have an eviction problem, being third in the state. So again, it's not about data. It's not about the issues. We presented all the facts, just about twisted myself in a pretzel to try to reach out to my council members and say, where is the issue here? We're not saying anything other than, if you don't have a good cause to uproot a family, then you shouldn't be able to do that. Quite frankly, this is just bending the knee to a landlord lobby and developers and promoting profits over people. That's just what it is in its most basic form.
Thank you. Mr.
Well,
Mancini?
I respect and appreciate all the comments. The reason I wanted to propose this task force,
Mr. Mancini?
obviously. Oh, I got to ask.
No, just turn this way. No, you're fine. Come on. Just speak.
So anyway, the reason for the task force is obviously this is a very polarizing issue. We've heard a lot of input, some kind of interesting, some not. I agree with my fellow Councilman Farley. Folks shouldn't be able to evict for no reason at all. I think we need to look at that. I think the responsibility of a landlord is you are providing a service that's valuable to this city, and there are certain obligations that come along with that. The law, again, I say, is very polarizing. I don't think it'll make it, but there's a lot we can do at the city. This is a really important issue for people. I want to do something. I don't think this will move forward. So I'm proposing to come up with some ideas and strategies to address this issue. It's a national issue. If we're third on evictions, and let's look at that. And a third, say it's 90, I'm just using this number, 60 are for a good cause. What happens with those people? where are they going? Who's going to take them? What are we doing about that? So it's a complex issue, and I think there's more we can do. Are there incentives we can get for new people that want to build here? Incentives for keeping the rent in reasonable? Are there incentives for landlords to keep their houses and their homes and their apartments in order, be in compliance with codes? What can we do as a community rather than implementing a law that we don't have a buy-in right now? I think some of the best solutions come from community-driven solutions. And while my proposal may not be perfect, it'll get us in a dialogue in a direction to take a critical look at this issue, and it's a serious issue. We don't want people being homeless, and what is it we as a community can do about it? Let's bring together those people that have the levers, the hands on the levers, that can make the difference, and let's get moving towards a solution. Political posturing aside, whoever's doing that, shame on them. But I see a problem that we have in this community. It's clear people are very passionate about it, so what can we do about it? And this, to me, is an idea to say, hey, let's see what we can do to bring together those that can actually impact this, and what solutions can we come up with. And that's my intent and motive behind this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Any further discussion from council members? If not, if the clerk would please call the roll.
Mr. Toro? Yes. Mr. Farley?
I'd like to explain my vote. It's just, again,
Would you please stand up, sir?
I would just like to explain my vote. Once again, I think that the task force is something to do, but again, it doesn't offer people the protections that they've come here and were extremely vulnerable in front of us to share their stories and let us know. So it's difficult for me to, at one point, listen to people, and I asked my colleagues, do you believe that people are being retaliatory evicted out of their homes? And people said yes. Well, if you believe that and people are saying that, then the task force want to address that. I appreciate in the spirit of compromise, but I'm not willing to compromise when it comes to somebody's livelihood and a place for their family to live when they're being illegally evicted from their home. It's just that. It's not being against the task force just for the sake of being against it. I'm saying that the task force might be a good thing, but the task force will not provide the protections for the people that live in the city of Schenectady. It's just another thing. And I don't know what data the task force is going to give, but I will ask Mr. Mancini right here, right now on the record to say that if we do this task force, could you bring it back to 60 days, have a comprehensive report for the council, and if the data reflects that good cause is going to be an option for us at that point, after the task force, and after you get whatever data you need, I'm asking you, would you support it at that point, sir?
This is not a debate. We cannot do that. No.
We can't have a discussion during discussion? No. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry.
You,
this is for my point of vote. I'm sorry, Madam President.
Any further discussion? Okay. If the clerk could please call the roll.
Mr. Farley, was that a yes or a no?
Yeah, you didn't say. Mr. Farley?
Yeah, that's a no.
Mr. Mancini?
Yes.
Mr. Mutavaran?
Yes.
Ms. Patrick? Yes. Mr. Williams?
No.
Ms. Porterfield?
Thank you. So, of course, I want to explain my vote, because I do take the time to look into these things, to consider everything that's being presented before me. So when I first read this piece of legislation, I was not in favor. However, during our discussions, I saw this as an opportunity to collaborate with a group that has been working on housing issues for several months. One Schenectady. I offer that instead of creating a new initiative, that we partner with that group of self-selected individuals from the community and organizations as well that are doing the work, and build upon the work that was already being done as opposed to creating something new. That was summarily rejected without any specific reasons. One council member did state that since it would have to come back to the city council, it needed to start here. Essentially, the message from the majority of the city council is that we have to select the voices that we listen to. I am committed to listen to all voices, whether I agree or disagree. Therefore, I cannot support legislation which rejects collaborating with a community-driven, already established group of voices in favor of a process that is selective in the voices to be invited to the table. I vote no on this item. The measure passes 4-3. This time, we will have privilege of the floor regarding city business, and I have 7 people signed up to speak. Tracy Collins.
This is a picture of a friend of mine installing a guardrail on my lawn.
Excuse me, Mr. Collins. If you're leaving, could you please leave quietly? We are still in our meeting. And there'll be no discussion in the audience. Thank you. Okay, I will start your time again, Mr. Collins.
This is a picture of a friend of mine installing the additional guardrail that was promised in March of 2024 after a car came through the city guardrail installed in December of 23. Taking down my fence again and destroying my property. I had to buy my own guardrail. Car coming from the bridge to Albany Street on Kings Road on Saturday morning, one in the correct lane and another in the wrong lane, speeding past the car in the correct lane. My friend and I was on my property, excuse me, and needed to quickly react when the car changed lanes to pass the correct car. We didn't know what to do. We both ducked, having some kind of, we didn't know if the driver was having some kind of, was a drunk driver or having some kind of attack, or just sick and tired of the 25 miles an hour speed limit. I yelled to my friend, stay down, and needed to jump back myself. We actually thought we would be badly hurt or even killed. Again, we were in my yard. A couple months ago, I reminded this council that my home and property has been destroyed 8 times. And if another incident happened on my property and my home, I would sue this city council and anyone involved in the incident, in the conversation, personally and individually. Get ready. You put my family in danger for the last time. Copies of this picture and video have been sent to the mayor, the city engineer, the Gazette, Channel 10, Channel 6, Phil Stack's office, the police department, and a police report was filed. 25 miles an hour, people are still passing people in the double lane. Again, you put my family in danger for the last time in the city.
Thank you. Sean Radigan.
Yeah, I just really want to express my deep disappointment with the events here tonight. And yeah, I would welcome any one of you to come out on the street with me and speak to tenants any day. Any day, I'll take the day off of work. We can go out there and we can talk to tenants. If you want to hear from your constituents and hear about these conditions on the street, any day.
Thank you. Anthony Carrata.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, Madam President. Before I get to speak on what I'm going to speak on tonight, I just wanted to apologize briefly for my behavior 2 weeks ago or earlier this month, in regards to what I was speaking there about the issue with the Summer Block Party. I just want to apologize for my behavior earlier this month. Get that out of the way. Now, I understand that this governing bodies in the surrounding areas, especially Albany, has been dealing with issues of youth, behavior of the youth in the communities, especially in Albany. Just on July 4th weekend, Channel 6 has just did a roundtable discussion with leaders in the surrounding areas with that. Now, I was thinking about two possible solutions for this government body. Because I understand earlier this month, one of the committee meetings, two council members brought up about possibly the city help funding Pop Warner football. Now, I understand this government body and others have been dealing with issues of people bringing forth the issues of behavior of the youth and communities. Now, my two solutions are, and just suggestions here. One, I strongly believe that one of the major problems that the youth have today is positive role models or positive influences, if you will. I, unfortunately, later in my adult life, had that where people came by and were a positive influence to me because, unfortunately, today, the youth get people talking to them that very negative. You don't matter. Your life doesn't matter. Your circumstances are way better than what you can do. They need somebody to be positive to them. Say, you care, you matter, your life matters, you're better than your circumstances. They need a positive influence, somebody just to listen to them. So I would recommend to do a mentorship program. Unlike what our former leader said, I won't get into that, but we all know what a certain president said in regards to mentorship or discipleship for youth. I won't get into that. But I strongly recommend look into or invest into mentorship programs. Also, the second point, I understand there's a lot of businesses downtown here and surrounding areas that we're looking to hire locally. We've had some youth here from the high school speaking. They're probably looking towards the future, getting a high school job. If they do an internship program with a lot of these programs around here, downtown and surrounding areas, one, that would benefit everybody around, benefit the community, benefit the city. It definitely benefit the businesses because they would hire the youth about to graduate high school looking at their future options, choices.
And you just summarize?
Yes, I'll be wrapping up shortly here. And also it would benefit the youth because they would learn new skills. So I strongly suggest that this council and the intergovernmental body look into ways to do a mentorship program or an internship program to the companies around here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Laurel Barnes.
I just want to say I am disappointed, very disappointed. You don't want homeless people out on the streets because it doesn't look good for Schenectady. Well, since you voted against it, there will be plenty. And if I'm one of them, shame on you. And I believe this lovely task force is just a stall. And I know each one of you who voted against it, and I'm not going to vote for you this year. Forget it.
Jamaica Miles.
I'm gonna start by saying I really appreciate that I agree with one of the former speakers. We do need mentorship programs, and what's really great is we already have one. The city of Schenectady and the school district have partnered, and we're doing mentorships. As a matter of fact, I have a mentee at my business, at my organization, as does the mayor's office. So we know that mentorship works. We know how important those programs are. We know how important they are, that there were other localities that invested in communities, not in policing, and reduced violence and increased the success of their young people, including Oakland, California, Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, as well as other places such as Boston and other cities in California. So yes, let's increase mentorships. That's a wonderful thing. Now let's get to the really important part that y'all actually, I can't even, I was back there trying to understand, thinking to myself, and then I remembered, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm exactly in the place where I've always been. And what I've watched is people reveal themselves and decide very clearly that they were more concerned with politics than people. And that I remember what it's like, right? Because I'm not new to this game. I didn't just show up yesterday. It's not as if I have no clue about how this all works. I'm very clear about how it works. And what I watched was that the bully in the room had made the move, that the Democratic Party had made its decision and said, no, we can't let this go forward. You better not let it go forward, because if you do, then we have to worry about the people that we didn't endorse getting reelected. So thank you for giving the city a clear message and vision about, one, who the Democratic Party is, two, who the representatives are actually representing, and three, reminding me why I do what I do. I do not extend an invitation to every single one of you to come out into the streets with me, because just like when I stood here and talked about sanctuary cities and someone said, oh, just tell me who it is and I'll go talk to them. There are reasons why people don't talk to some of y'all, because you can't talk to every single one of us. I am able to talk to all of us, every single one of us. Why? Because I listen, because I understand what's happening in the city. But unfortunately, some of y'all just want to grandstand and sit in your seats and nod your heads and smile real nice and pretend like you're here for the people, when all you're here for is the power, the privilege, and the act of pretending as if you're doing something for somebody, and we should all applaud you for the breadcrumbs that you happen to throw at our feet. So the next time any one of you that stood up and said, I'm not here for a good cause, say that you're here for all of the people of the city, understand the hypocrisy that you are speaking with. Because yeah, there can be a task force. You can look for what are the other ways that we should be doing something, but you don't say no to a good thing just to figure out if there's something else that we should do. Because if you really cared about the people, you would have said yes to good cause. But I'm wrapping up right now to remind you that 2020 was not that long ago. And if y'all thought I was dangerous when there was the height of a pandemic, when you thought that, oh my God, I'm sick of hearing from Jamaica, when we had such a racial crisis in this city, see what comes next.
Thank you. Crystal Dion? Crystal?
So I'm Crystal Doyne. I'm sure you're familiar with me. I am here on a very unrelated topic, coming here with straight facts. I would like to talk about Buster's Law, which is section 353-A, which addresses aggravated cruelty to animals. It specifically criminalizes intentionally killing or causing serious physical injury to a companion animal with aggravated cruelty without justifiable purpose. The law is named after a dog, Buster, who was the victim of a horrific act of animal cruelty. Now, you may be wondering why I'm bringing this up. I am a person who is still actively going through a gang stalking situation from a domestic violence problem. This dog here, unfortunately, died because of it in my daughter's arms, because we were 15 minutes too shy from a veterinarian office that had life-saving measures. Died of asphyxiation because someone drugged her. That's animal cruelty. I have solid proof and evidence that I've brought before Schenectady City Police Department, and they have shunned me and told me they were not able to help me. So I am here to show you, because I am still actively in this horrific retaliatory behavior from a gang, stemming from a domestic violence situation that I have been dealing with for several years. I've reached out to you, Mayor McCarthy, on several occasions to talk to you about the horrific things that have happened, and gone to the city of Schenectady, the police department, where I have been continuously shunned from receiving help. This is my dog. This is my emotional support animal. This is Jax. He is what keeps me alive. I am in fear that this is another dog that I'm going to have to put to my dead dog club, which I don't want to happen. So what I'm asking for is that the interpretation of the law be revised. The justifiable purpose, the law only applies when there is no legitimate or justifiable reason for the act of cruelty. There is no reason that anybody should act with violence, cruelty, trying to harm a dog or a cat or any animal for that matter. None. There's no reason. And the fact that your Schenectady City police officers take it to their interpretation of what a law is enough. How many other dogs need to die in this county because of the lack of law enforcement? The lack of police officers that are willing to stand up against animal abuse. Enough is enough, and I'm not adding Jacks to the Dead Dogs Club. I will tell you that now. So I act right here. I am starting a movement here. Keep your paws off our paws. That's what needs to be the motto of Schenectady, because there are many, many dogs who have been abused and still have not been held accountable as to the way the law is actually written.
I need you to summarize.
That's it.
Thank
you
you
for your time. And
You're welcome.
can I just add one more thing? I just have to address Mayor McCarthy.
No, you may not. You may just address the chair, please.
Okay.
If you want to speak to the mayor, you can
it's
speak
just
to the
about
mayor
the water.
afterwards.
So the last time I did bring up this issue.
Ma'am, your time has expired.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Valerie Triano?
Hi. So my last name, I'm sorry, I know it's kind of hard because Italian, but, well, I also can't really, I'm sorry, this isn't my time, I'm just trying to correct. My mom always said you have to roll the R, so it's Troiano, but I always just said Troiano. But anyways, that's not the point. I don't want that to be my 3 minutes. So I'm kind of winging this again, like on July 14th, only because I wasn't expecting there to be a vote on legislative agenda. So I just wanted to reiterate how with refocusing taxes on the rest of Schenectady areas, especially on helping the homeless get permanently off the streets, not just temporarily, I want to clarify and absolutely reiterate to meaning as in helping them get back on their feet, get jobs, and rebuild their life into stability. And when I say permanently off the streets, that does not mean throwing them in prisons or jails. And also, I wanted to bring up I do not see any accountability being held by Mayor McCarthy against those Schenectady Police Department officers who assaulted a minor. It has been 2 weeks now after I asked, or not really asked, but demanded for there to be accountability, as grown men should never, ever, ever be laying their hands on a minor at all, and yet there is zero accountability about that. So, yeah. And just to clarify, misinformation from one of the landlords named Lisa. She was spreading misinformation about how her being an occupied homeowner with only 2 rentals, she is not considered, she's considered exempt from the law. So she was spreading misinformation, which is not good. I'm sorry. This is why I usually pre-plan my writings, anyways, that's not the point. So anyways, moving on, about the fixing the infrastructure in the roads, like literally, it is like right away, like as soon as you leave Schenectady, downtown Schenectady, and just right in front of the Schenectady County courthouse, that road has cracks and it's broken up. I take the CDTA bus and I notice, like, it's just really weird at how you go from a completely beautiful downtown and then instantly right in front of the Schenectady courthouse, it is broken up and there's cracks in the road. So like, you don't even care about how your courthouse looks. And I would also like to end on how August 1st, there's $5 million about to mature in the New York State Retirement Fund. And just want to spread awareness that it is, since my pension plan as a state employee and you guys as state employees, to reach out and talk to Comptroller Dinopoli about cashing that bond and not reinvesting it into Israel, because we should not have our pension plans and our retirement plans
I need you to summarize.
in genocide, and also that Gaza is in stage 9 of genocide and they are being forced starved by the apartheid state of Israel. Thank you.
Wrap it up. Dean Marabido.
Good evening, Madam President, council members, and Mayor. First, I'd like to say thank you to the 3 people that did vote in favor of good cause. Thank you. And now for this. If someone living outside the city of Schenectady were to see a group photo of the members of this city council, they might have a perception that the membership of this organization is quite diverse. On the surface, it does have the appearance of diversity, but beneath that surface there lives that same old grasping onto the status quo of catering to those that already have, to the detriment of those that are already underserved and mostly neglected. Instead of the new Schenectady that is being touted, it appears we will have the same old Schenectady, where the haves and have-nots will remain in their places, with the haves receiving the benefits and the have-nots being told to wait their turn as their prosperity is right around the corner. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up to speak, so I declare the public comment on city business closed. At this time, I'll entertain any miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. I wanted to first start off by saying, although a number of people in the room have cleared out, truly, I appreciate hearing from you. I think regardless of where I stand in my position, always valuing every voice, every conversation, because challenging where we are is, I think, the very art of why people struggle with the value of politics right now, and our ability to challenge our positions and engage in thoughtful debate. And sincerely, whether I'm campaigning or not, I pride myself in always making the opportunity to hear from you and to put myself and my beliefs on display. And it's not to say that we're going to agree on everything, but the one thing that we have to agree on is improving the living conditions for Schenectadians. And if that is a theme that we can accept, then I'm all for having those conversations. Regardless of where you stand on any of the issues that were raised tonight, I think leaving this room and applauding yourself, I think, sends a very different message. I appreciate the perspective that we have on this side of the aisle, because I think it is apparent how these types of controversial discussions, these types of divisive topics, they leave me in a saddened state, because I don't think this is what our city is. I think we are stronger than these moments. So one of the tenets I want to leave everyone with, and one person mentioned this: if someone shows you who they are, believe them. But also, this is the city of Schenectady. We are very vocal and we're passionate, and I think that is a good thing. However, I think that requires the right leadership to channel that appropriately into positive long-term action. So sincerely, the work, regardless of where you are, doesn't stop today. Although I find myself siding on the for good cause, to those individuals, continue going door to door, continue advocating, because truly defeat happens when you give up. And sincerely to the landlords on the opposing side, if you find yourself not those individuals that are putting tenants in subpar living conditions, continue to hold yourself to those positive expectations, but also hold your peers to those expectations as well. I do not believe that we need to have a task force for Schenectady landlords to influence change. That is who you are, so do it. So do it. But sincerely, I have been a part of these conversations. It pains me to hear people put their life stories on full display. But sincerely, it is easy to give up. It is challenging to keep going. So one of the mantras I had campaigning was, we don't make excuses, we make adjustments. So just make some adjustments, talk to some more people, and see where we are. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Farley?
Thank you, Madam Chair, Madam President. So I just wanted to, again say that, I like other people, I'm very disappointed what's happening, that we did not opt into good cause, especially what's happening in Washington, D.C. We see that the middle class and the poor working class are under attack. And the legislation and the big bill that people mentioned, this is very intentional legislation to make sure that the rich get richer and that wealth gap just grows. And legislation like good cause is legislation that will combat that in a real meaningful way. And probably one of the most meaningful ways you could do it is to commit to somebody that as long as they are paying their bills and abiding by their lease, not breaking any laws, that they would have some place to live. And I just don't think that is, that doesn't seem very radical to me by any means. I wanted to kind of, Madam Chair, I wanted to offer, I believe that people have different motivations for some of the things that they're doing, or some of the positions that they're taking. Mr. Mancini says that this is a way to kind of gather information and then make a more informed decision. So what I was going to do is, and I have had conversations with Mr. Mancini, very promising conversations, and at this point what I was asking for was to give Mr. Mancini the opportunity to say, if this task force happens within 60 days, that they can, once they give a full report to the council, that if the data and the information that is obtained by the report supports good cause, at that time that we could count on his support to do that. And I was trying to give him an opportunity to show people the different dynamics of what this is going into. So I wanted to give an opportunity for him to make that commitment to us.
So, Mr. Farley, it's up to Mr. Mancini as to whether or not he wants to address that. Yeah. Ms. Patrick.
Thank you. And I appreciate hearing from everyone that came out this evening as well. And I appreciate that we do all recognize that like 98% of the time, we tend to all vote in the same way. And I think that it is important that we, when we don't, have the same viewpoints that we have been able to discuss and treat each other with respect in those conversations. And I think one of the things I wasn't planning on saying this until I just listened to Mr. Farley. I think there's so many ways in this community of Schenectady to get involved as volunteers. And I think there's so many ways to be helping folks that are living in poverty. There's certainly, we have 23 food providers in Schenectady County, and they're always looking for volunteers. There's always ways to raise money, but also just to be really hands-on. I know it gives us a chance to really talk to folks that come to our doors, at least at the pantry that I'm most familiar with. We really have that opportunity to talk to people and hear their stories and understand where they're coming from and work really hard to try to be helping them improve helping them have food on their tables and support their families. The announcements that I wanted to make tonight, I just wanted to first thank Rich Russo and Camille Sosnowski for the 9th annual Honorable Karen B. Johnson Family Fun Day that was held this past Saturday at Steinmetz Park. It was really great to see so many children and so many families come out to that event, as well as the 30 community organizations that came and shared their resources and had giveaways and food and games and all sorts of stuff for the kids. It was a wonderful day once again. It was the 9th annual Family Fun Day, and it really turned out very well. Also, Music Haven is just exploding every week. Even though we've only had a few concerts so far, it's been unbelievable, the crowds that have been coming in for really great music. On Sunday, August 3rd, this upcoming Sunday, is the Blues Barbecue, which is always a really great time. This year's band is called Rick Estrin and the Nightcates. And they actually won the 2025 Blues Music Award for Band of the Year. So that should be another great concert this Sunday night. The concerts are at 7 o'clock. Also this Wednesday, our Schenectady Fire Department has Fishing with a Firefighter. I'm not a fishing person, but I think it's great that they're going to be over at Steinmetz Park. They're giving the fishing poles, the bait, all of that, as well as pizza and drinks will be provided. And that's this Wednesday. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then finally, the police department is once again doing the National Night Out on Tuesday, August 5th. They do that in collaboration with Common Unity. That's going to be over at Jerry Burrell Park. Again, that's food, games, fun on August 5th over at Jerry Burrell. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? Mr. Toro?
Thank you. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out this evening. I do want to say my position is not to take a position at this time, and I'm very excited about the task force because I'm really looking forward to the tenants and landlords being at the same table and coming to a compromise, and just working things out. So that excites me. I can understand tenants and landlords, both sides of the issue, so being able to address the issues is very important. In addition to what the city's already doing as far as the eviction process, the home rule that we have coming out, landlord, good landlord, I can't even think of the word, good landlord, registry, things like that. So all those things we're going to put together. Now, as far as talking to the residents of the city, each and every one of us has been out campaigning for many years, for many times, talking to almost every resident in this city. So we know what the residents need. We hear them all the time. So we hear the landlords, we hear the tenants. So again, with this task force, I'm really looking forward to seeing where we're going to be able to go with that. I'd also like to again, push the swim program over at the high school. It's 3 weeks in, there's another 3 weeks to go. At this point, Coach Crandall said, don't even sign up. Bring the children there. They're looking to get 200 children more a week in this swim process. So it's 8:30 to 9:15, 9:30 to 10:15, 10:30 to 11:15, 12 to 12:45, 1 o'clock to 1:45. There's no reason with all those times that we can't help to get all our children safe and out to swim. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor?
Thank you, Madam President. Appreciate everyone coming out and their thoughts and concerns as we all try and make some of the housing options better and stronger within the city. Following up to Councilmember Patrick's comments, I will also thank the team that put together the Steinmetz Family Fun Day, named in honor of former Mayor Karen Johnson. Great turnout, and DEC had done a recent study there where they were counting some of the fish. They did a sample where they net and pull out a group of fish, count it, and put them back in the lake. People who know that park and the pond there, it's relatively small, but they estimate the number to be about 10,000 fish live in that pond. It's an impressive number, so that when people are going out for the Fishing with a Fireman this Wednesday, there's a good opportunity there to catch a fish or two within Steinmetz Park. Again, today it got up to 90 degrees or 89 degrees. It's hot. We're going to see the heat again tomorrow, where the forecast has the temperature getting over 90 degrees with the humidity going up. Encourage people to be cautious when they're out. Avoid strenuous outdoor activities, stay hydrated, and we do have, our pools are all open and running. Central Park, Quackenbush, and Front Street are there. We also have the splash pads in Wallingford Park, Woodlawn Park, Tribute Park on Eastern Avenue, Jerry Burrell Park, and there's also one in Central Park immediately adjacent to the new swimming pool, so that people should feel free to take advantage of those. They're great resources to be able to stay cool and enjoy the summer weather. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. I'd like to also thank everyone that came out this evening to speak about whatever it is that people came about, different things. Most people came about good cause or the task force, but there were other issues that we heard come before us. So do want to appreciate you coming out and voicing your concerns. I really hoped we were good in a position where we would really support our tenants who are the most vulnerable, but that did not happen this evening. And I guess I will still voice my concerns over a task force of 9 people that we select to solve this problem. So limiting, first of all, the limiting of the number is a concern for me, and that they only get selected by the city council as opposed to self-selecting. So those are my concerns, but the legislation has passed, so we're gonna have to take a look at how this moves forward to make sure that it's a fair and equitable process for everyone that's impacted, and not just for those who have a louder voice or a better level of influence. We must keep that in mind, that we represent everyone, so everyone should have a seat at that particular table, which I think we should expand beyond 9, but that's what the legislation says, so that's what it's going to be. If there's nothing further this evening, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Patrick, second by Mr. Mutivaran. All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Have a good evening. Stay cool.